Thank you for listening to this Podcast One production, available on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. It's a brand new weekend, and you're tuned in to the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis. This is Beyond the Darkness. It's a Supernatural News Parashare Saturday. We've got some of your calls, some of your emails to share a little bit later on in the program. And now, over at the Supernatural News desk, with his visor on, his cigarette dangling between his lips, and ready to go to presses, we have our own Supernatural News correspondent, Mr. Tim Dennis. Hello, Tim.
Hi, I'm glad you said it was dangling between my lips. I mean, anywhere else it would be painful.
That's right. Well, most people don't dangle cigarettes from other places or orifices, Tim.
Well, Eddie Van Halen used to dangle it from the end of his guitar.
That is true. You know, that's not an orifice so much, unless you're trying to tell me that he is actually a mutant that was born with a guitar attached to him.
He might have been. Have you ever seen him play?
That is true. Hey, we want to hear from you guys, and you can give us a call, 651-300-4977. Stop making excuses. Start making calls. Share your stories with us. Oh, Dave. Oh, Tim, we missed the live format when people could call in and share stories. Hey, Tim, why don't we put together a voicemail where people could call in just like the live shows and share their stories? Sure, Dave, that sounds like a great idea. Hey, we've got a number, the Beyond voicemail, 651-300-4977. Call us and share your stories now. That's crickets, Tim.
Oh, I see.
Because that's what it's like most weeks.
Yeah.
I get some, hey, you guys rock. Or, hey, you pronounced the word wrong. I get those voicemails, but we don't get many stories anymore. We get them in email form, which is great, and I love to read them. But you know what? Once in a while, people, it'd be nice to hear your damn voices. Thankfully, a couple of lovely ladies shared their stories with us today. And we've got a really nice little story coming up, Tim. Not really even a story, but just a nice voicemail from a listener who's been with us since the beginning. So we'll share some of that later on in Parashare. But where do you want to begin today's strange journey into the supernatural news?
I guess we're going overseas, Dave. To
dun, 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 dun.
I guess that's what it is. I don't know. I'm just going to... Here's the deal, folks. I'm going to mispronounce names, and I just don't give a shit. So that's the deal.
Get over yourselves, people.
Yeah.
We're Americans. We don't have time to look up how to say words.
And we don't care. And that's how it's going to go down. So if I mispronounce this, you know what? Screw
Take
you.
a deep breath. Relax. It's all right. Well, I don't know that you have to go that violent, Tim.
Well, it's just how it's going to go. So there you go. There you go.
All right. Where are we off to?
Thanet, I guess. It's the planet.
That's Thane, Tim.
Is it Thane?
I don't know. Thanet is probably the right way to say it.
Probably is. The Thanet ghost hunting team. It's the planet that was put together by Thanos, I believe. Yeah.
Thanet?
Yeah, Thanet.
It's a Thanet planet?
It's the Thanos planet. The Thanet ghost hunting team who met the ghost of Jack the Ripper in Broadstairs, Dave. That's what the old Kent Live newspaper put it out as, the old headline. We know we're going to get some mean comments saying we're crazy, but we don't let it get to us. That's what the headline said on this one. A new ghost hunting group in Thanet believe they may have made contact with the ghost of Jack the Ripper. 35-year-old Kimmy Vincent, she's a mom of three from Ramsgate, has had a fascination with ghosts and the paranormal ever since she was a child. Her father is also a paranormal investigator, so looking for ghosts and other spooky happenings runs in the family. This resulted in Miss Vincent setting up Ghost, which stands for Ghost Hunting Organization Surrounding Thanet. Get it? Ghost.
I got it.
That's pretty clever. Since the tight-knit group made of Miss Vincent, Lisa Bone, and Allie Mitchell started hunting a few months ago, they have visited a number of well-known landmarks and made some exciting discoveries. Miss Vincent believes she spoke with the ghost of Walter Sickert, an artist who supposedly lived in Church Square in Broadstairs. He is considered a suspect in the Jack the Ripper case in modern times. We got some quite frightening footage from the investigation, Miss Vincent said. We were getting really intelligent responses to our questions. We asked, do you like playing games? And a really evil voice came through and said, Candyman. Well, at least he didn't say Candyland. I mean,
who can take a rainbow, sprinkle it with dew?
He actually likes
Candyman. That's that. So they were getting the ghost of Sammy Davis Jr.?
Yes. Evidently, the ghost really enjoys Sammy Davis Jr. So,
hey, man. It's the Candyman can.
At least he didn't say Eye of the Sparrow. Yeah. That would have been.
I love that song too.
Yeah. That would have been even better. Everyone then said, whoa, and it took us back a bit. Yeah. Whoa. I guess. In one of the local cemeteries, we saw someone on a grave, she went on to say, using the spirit box. We asked, are you here? And you hear the reply saying, I want to be, which was quite emotional, she went on to say. Miss Vincent said despite her experiences, she still wants to present her evidence in a way that will let each individual make up their own mind. Since I was little, she went on to say, I always used to sense things nobody else could sense. I've had so many experiences myself and watched ghost hunters on YouTube, so I thought I can do that and put together a group. Well, everybody says that I can do that, and they go ahead and they just go ahead and do it, don't they, Dave?
Well, I've watched some brain surgeries on TV, and I'm trying it at home now.
Are you? You're just doing it at home, just doing your own brain surgery, aren't you?
Why not? Yep.
I've went and decided to split atoms at home myself because I saw it on YouTube. So I'm splitting atoms right in my basement. I'm going to do some nuclear fission.
I would highly suggest not doing that. That's
why not, Dave?
Because splitting atoms, first of all, is it's Tim. I don't know how to exactly break it down for you, but it can be quite volatile.
It can. I mean, I saw it on YouTube, Dave, and they do it there.
I know,
but I can do it right here in my basement.
There are some things that maybe, I've seen people put pipe cleaners in places too, Tim, on YouTube, and it doesn't mean you should do that.
Oh, well, I was going to do that next after I get done splitting the atoms. I'll split something else.
No splitting atoms, Tim.
Okay.
I have to put my foot down.
All right, then. She went on to say, I don't believe in clickbait. I want my team to get the evidence and put it out there and let the viewers decide if they think it's paranormal or not. So far, the group...
It's not.
So far, the group have hunted for ghosts in a number of cemeteries across Thanet, as well as the Red Lion in St. Peter's and the Oxford in Margate or Stargate or whatever it is. I don't care, people. Just go ahead and email me. They've also visited...
God, people, you've broken Tim. You've broken him.
You've just broken me. I don't give a crap anymore. They've also visited a few private addresses, a few of which I'll give out later in the program. The team will soon be hunting for ghosts at the Theatre Royale, or it's a Royale with cheese, Dave. I believe it's in France. The team uses technology such as spirit boxes, which quickly jump between radio frequencies to pick up voices, and SLS devices, which are used in video game consoles to play hands-free. They are used to detect human presence, it says here. But Miss Vincent says she understands why people are skeptical of the work she does. She said, I always say that's fair enough. We're not here to tell you what to believe. Oh, there's more to the story. Just a few lines. I'm sorry.
What?
She says,
look at you.
She says,
okay.
I know I'm teasing. She said, we want to collect evidence. We want to show people and let them make up their own minds. We know the skeptics are there, and we know we're going to get some mean comments saying we're crazy, but we don't let it get to us. You can follow Ghost and find out more about their hunts on their Facebook and YouTube pages. So there you go.
Attention, market basket shoppers. We have a cleanup in aisle 3 and a ghost in aisle 4.
That's at least what's being claimed at the Wilmington Market Basket, Tim. Residents have been using Facebook to debate whether the Wilmington Market Basket is haunted.
Ooh.
We're going straight to Wilmington, Massachusetts.
Oh,
Tim.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, let me get some hate mail on that pronunciation.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I stumbled all over Wilmington.
And I know.
She's described as a short and youngish character between the ages of 17 and 30. It's quite a swing. With long, dark hair and light skin, she has blue eyes, and she's wearing Victorian-era clothing. But call me when she's wearing Victoria's Secret clothing, and I'll be much more interested in this ghost.
You know.
That's what one shopper at the Wilmington Market Basket says. A ghost matching the same description used to roam her house when she lived nearby on Clark Street. Yes, Tim, a ghost.
What?
A Facebook group for Wilmington residents, which usually features event announcements, posts about coyote sightings, and discussions of local issues, have been overrun in recent days with a debate on whether the Wilmington Market Basket is haunted. Patch has reached out to Market Basket for comment, and we'll update this story when we hear back from them, and we'll report back to you because we're reading their story. In the meantime, the thread on the closed Facebook group had more than 150 comments as of Tuesday morning. And while most of those comments are jokes, what are you people smoking? One person said. Several others seem like earnest accounts of seeing Market Basket's ghost. I saw her and looked away to see if anyone else saw her. And when I looked back, she was gone. The Wilmington woman who started the discussion said in a follow-up post, the woman said the sighting happened too fast for her to snap a photo. Another woman said she had seen a similar apparition, but the ghost she saw was much younger. A woman who has worked at Market Basket for 4 years said she's never seen a ghost. But I don't want to, LOL, if you're totally serious. Another employee said after working overnight shifts at the store, he believes it's definitely haunted, but also conceded it's probably just our imagination talking to us and taking us to crazy places after working alone for 10 hours straight. So the debate remains open, Tim. Market Basket. Is it more than just your corner grocer, or is it a portal to hell with great prices on bologna?
I would go portal to hell with great prices on bologna, sure. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, where are we off to next, Tim?
The Playboy Mansion, Dave.
Oh, God, yes. I mean, what? The Playboy Mansion, you say?
Where if I were a ghost, that's where I'd hang out. But
is it?
Yeah, but evidently, there is an ex-playmate there who's decided to haunt it in the afterlife. The Playboy Mansion is haunted by an ex-playmate who has been roaming the halls at night. At least that is what Hugh Hefner's ex-girlfriend, Bridget Marquardt, has said. The 45-year-old, who's retired her bunny years, made the revelation during an interview on Australia's The Morning Show on Channel 7. She recalled an experience several years ago when she was watching TV in one of the mansion's bedrooms, and a spirit suddenly appeared in the doorway. Marquardt said she was unable to get a proper look at the spirit, but said it looked like a woman standing there. The former model added she felt a positive vibe from the spirit. I didn't get a negative vibe from it at all, she said, according to The Guardian. I got a very positive vibe, and I think that it might have been a former employee of Hef's just coming to see the new addition to the family. This is not the first time the Playboy Mansion is said to be haunted. Over the years, there have been multiple alleged ghost sightings. Paranormal investigator Paul Dale Roberts, the luckiest man in the world, insisted in 2017 the mansion would indeed be haunted. The hauntings would be residual, and some of the hauntings would be intelligent. He wrote in an article that appeared in the Costa Rican Times, since there was a lot of partying and debauchery going on. You call it debauchery, I just call it a good time. The energy from these gatherings would resonate in the atmosphere for years to come. The Playboy Mansion was first built in 1927 in the Holmby Hills. According to the Thrillist, the Playboy acquired the mansion for a little over $1 million from world-renowned chess player and engineer Louis D. Statham. Hefner called it home for 43 years until he died in September of 2017. Marquardt calls herself a ghost hunter and is fascinated by the paranormal. Whatever did happen to that? Wasn't Bridget Marquardt supposed to do some sort of ghost hunting like program or something like that with another Playboy bunny on the Playboy channel.
Right. Yeah, and I don't think it lasted very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, the orbs were all fake, Tim.
Were they?
Yeah, all of them.
I know they were rock hard, but yeah.
Every one of them fake.
Yep.
Not true at all. You know, Gene Simmons lives like right down the street from the Playboy Mansion. I know that's hard to believe, but it's true.
Hard to believe, but yeah.
Was that the end of your story?
That was the end of my story, yeah.
Well, Tim, from a woman who liked to get undressed to a haunted dresser. How about that for a segue?
All right.
A spooky piece of home decor recently popped up at a second-hand shop in North Carolina, an allegedly haunted dresser. The odd item can be found at the Habitat for Humanity Restore in the city of Salisbury. On a Facebook post showcasing the dresser, the shop first noted that the ornate-looking piece was hand-carved in the 1950s, and it's part of a two-piece set which includes a canopy bed. However, it's the warning that accompanies the furniture that caught the attention of prospective shoppers. According to the store, the previous owner of the set informed them that the dresser apparently comes with a spirit of some kind. The shop's notice explains that the unnamed man reported continuous nightmares for he and his wife while it was in their room. Additionally, it would appear that the couple were not alone in being tormented by whatever sinister energy was attached to the piece, as the former owner also claimed that the dogs would not stop barking at the dresser. While skeptics may contend that the story is merely some clever marketing on the part of the secondhand store, I kind of am inclined, Tim, to give the shop the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah?
Yeah. Maybe admittedly because in part it would be terribly disappointing if the, amusing scenario of a haunted furniture piece frantically trying to get rid of his haunted bedroom set weren't a really true story.
Yeah.
Regardless, it seems that as of now, the possessed dresser is still on the market, and Tim, it could be yours for just a mere $1,000.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you could just exercise that money right out of your wallet and purchase it, Tim.
Well, if that's all.
Well, you could piece that with the very famous haunted couch of Waco, Texas.
The haunted couch of Waco, Texas, you say?
Yeah, that was a story from like 2007. They had this a furniture consignment shop in Waco had a very strange item in its showroom. They claimed it was a haunted couch, and the spooky sofa was reportedly dropped off at the shop back in 2007 by a man who claimed that he was plagued by eerie paranormal activity after bringing the item into his home. According to the man, kitchen cabinets began opening and closing on their own, and an inexplicable sulfur smell wafted through his house. The incidents left him so unsettled that the man left the couch at the consignment shop and told the owner, "I don't want any part of it. Get it away from me." So you could get a satanic sofa, Tim, and a demonic dresser and pair them up together for your room pleasure. What do you think?
I think that inexplicable sulfur smell might have been somebody just burying their cheeks a little too hard into the sofa, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
I don't know what you mean. No, I don't understand at all. Where are we off to next?
Well, I think I might have grasped the way to say this new movie. Is it The Curse of La Llorona?
No.
No?
All right, so this is a weird La Llorona.
Llorona?
I know.
Are
It's my
you
Antonio
sure?
Banderas coming out. I'm positive. It's La Llorona.
Because I have...
The double L makes a Y sound, Tim.
Are you sure? Because I have the teaser trailer in front of me here.
Uh-huh. And what do they say? La Llorona?
Should I play it?
Yeah, you should.
Is it because I've got... Should I go to the end here?
Oh, what did she say? La Llorona.
Wait. Let me go back.
Thing about La Llorona.
Oh?
La Llorona?
Oh.
La Llorona? Is it really?
La Llorona.
La Llorona? La Llorona?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about La Llorona?
La Llorona.
Yes.
All right, it's La Llorona.
Yes.
All right, I finally got it.
There you go.
La Llorona.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's what the story's about.
Okay.
The Curse of La Llorona Officially confirmed as the Conjuring spinoff. Finally, we've got confirmation of it from James Wan's attachment to its creepy inclusion of paranormal
sleepless
activity.
Wondering. I was sleepless. I laid awake at nights in beds of sweat wondering.
I'll tell you, I have spent a night or two just kind of sitting up, in the rocking chair, thinking about it. Thinking, is this a spinoff or is it not?
In the rocking chair? What are you, 82?
Yeah, I'm getting up there. Just saying. Yeah.
You got your little Afghan over your lap?
I do. Yeah, I do a little crocheting and. I think,
wearing your Panama jack hat and your round sunglasses?
Yeah, I do.
Truman Capote, get out of here, you freak. All right, what's going on with La?
A bit of higher voice and think about whether... No, I don't know. From James Wan's attachment to its creepy inclusion of paranormal activity, rumors of the curse of La... How did you say it again? La Llorona?
Okay, team. I need for you to repeat after me.
La Llorona?
La Llorona.
La Llorona?
Llorona. Lorna? Llorona.
La Llorona?
Yes, it's best to let it roll off your tongue, team.
La Llorona?
Close enough.
All right. Inclusion. I just think they should have named it something else. That's what I think.
Well, that's what the ghost's name is, Tim. You can't rename the movie because Tim Dennis can't pronounce it.
What about La Betsy?
It doesn't really ring off, does it?
Would have been better.
Yeah.
Anyway.
La Llorona.
La
Llorona.
La Llorona.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. Let me play this over again.
Do you know anything about La Llorona?
La Llorona?
La Llorona.
La Llorona. All right.
Woo!
Now, see, you're going to screw me up with that.
My La Llorona.
La Llorona.
That's what I said.
No, you didn't. You said something else.
Oh, God, this is the longest story. It's like 3 sentences,
well,
and we're not even halfway through.
I'm trying to get through it. All right. So,
all right.
Rumors of the curse of La Llorona inclusion in the growing shared universe of the Conjuring movies persist after the film's premiere at the South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas. We now know for sure if the film is the latest spin-off to follow films like Annabelle and The Nun. According to the review from Bloody Disgusting, The Curse of La Llorona is indeed a spin-off of The Conjuring. It's all confirmed thanks to the inclusion of actor Tony Amendola reprising the role of Father Perez from the first Annabelle movie. It's unclear if this was always planned to be a spin-off of The Conjuring or if the producers found an opportunity to tie an original film to the franchise. The ties are confirmed at a point where Father Perez explains his experiences with a possessed doll, confirming that the Curse of La Llorona takes place after Annabelle. Michael Chavez makes his feature-length directorial debut in The Curse of La Llorona, but he's taken the reins of the major franchise in the future. It makes sense that Juan would help select Chavez to tackle The Conjuring 3, now knowing that the director's first movie is helping flesh out the lore of the franchise. While working closely with Chavez on The Curse of La Llorona, I got to know him as a filmmaker, Juan explained. Chavez's ability to bring the emotion to the story and his understanding of mood and scares makes him a perfect fit to direct the next Conjuring film. Chavez praised Juan's influence on the franchise, thankful for the opportunity to get to tell the next chapter for Lorraine and Ed Warren's ghost hunting adventures. I'm a huge fan of the Conjuring films, Chavez said. The movies are a rare combination that deliver both tremendous heart and awesome scares. It is both a total thrill and absolute honor to be working with James and the gang at New Line again. At this point, it's unclear why New Line Cinemas and Warner Brother Pictures have been so coy about the connections to the Conjuring franchise. While the horror films have been a hit at the box office and well received among fans, perhaps a surprise will play off when the film finally hits the big screen. The Curse of... Say it again for me.
La Llorona.
La Llorona premieres in theaters on April 19th.
See, here's what I think they were trying to do. I think they were trying to pull an M. Night Shyamalan thing with Split. I think they were going to play this movie out, and then you realize, this is the same guy from that other movie. And I wonder if they're also trying to be a little bit more coy about it, because sometimes people get sequel fatigue. Mm-hmm. And if they think this has something to do with it, they might be like, I haven't seen the other movies. I don't want to see this one. And this movie really is kind of its own standalone. The only tie-in is that it's got a priest from one of the other movies in it. Oh, I wonder, psychologically, if that's the way they were looking at it, because we can be weird. Oh, we love The Conjuring. Oh, love The Conjuring too. Oh, there's more Conjuring movies coming out, and people get weird about the sequelitis. But yet, they're spinning off The Nun. Annabelle's got already 3 movies with a 4th one coming out, and that's your next story. So I don't want to interrupt your flow. I'll let you go with that one.
Well, I'm trying to bring that story up, but all I've got here is like a black screen.
That's because it's haunted, Tim.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, Annabelle Comes Home is the 3rd installment of the Warner Brothers horror franchise. It's supposed to be released on June 28th. Although I say, Tim, it's the 4th installment, because Aquaman, also directed by James Wan, has Annabelle floating at the bottom of the ocean. And we see how horribly things go wrong for Aquaman. True. So I think that's truthfully the 3rd Annabelle movie. And if you think I'm wrong, you're wrong. Go watch the movie. I'm sure you can find a screen cap of it online now. But yes, she does make a cameo appearance in the movie Aquaman. Annabelle 3, the 3rd entry in the Warner Brothers Conjuring spin-off series centered on the haunted doll, has officially been titled Annabelle Comes Home. The movie is slated to be released on the 23rd of June. Gary Dauberman is making his directorial debut with Annabelle Comes Home. Dauberman wrote the first 2 Annabelle movies and co-wrote the horror flick It and its upcoming sequel. That's hopeful. As per a report, the 3rd Annabelle film will once again center around the titular demon doll, but this time she's already under the possession of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. This time, Judy Warren, daughter of the paranormal investigating couple, is targeted alongside her 2 teen babysitters by the demonic doll after they bring it home into their artifact room. Madison Iserman and Katie Sarafi are set to play Judy Warren's babysitters. Actors Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga will be reprising their roles of paranormal investigators Lorraine and Ed Warren, with young actress McKenna Grace playing their daughter. Grace was last seen as young Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel and has also had a role on Netflix hit The Haunting of Hill House. So there you go.
There you go.
Oh, that's your little update. Speaking of updates, 60 seconds. That's what this update's going to take. Exactly how long this update takes. You know what else you can do in about a minute? You can get an offer for your car, Tim, with TrueCar.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's right. It's the amount of time it takes to floss your teeth, pet your dog, do a few sit-ups, or just listen to my voice. You can get a True Cash offer. Best of all, you can do it from your smartphone or home. Just go to TrueCar, simply enter your license plate number, and watch how your car's details pop up. Answer a few questions, and you'll get an accurate True Cash offer from a local TrueCar certified dealer. It's just that easy. After that, you can bring your car in, and they'll check it out with you together. You can ask questions and get the answers you need, so there's never any surprises. Then simply leave with your check-in or trade in your car for a new ride. So when you're ready to experience a better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today. Tim, I don't know if you knew this, but the U.S. detected a huge meteor explosion earlier this year, last year.
I didn't know.
Earlier last year, this year. Earlier in the year, earlier within the last 12 calendar months here. I don't know how to say this, Tim, but a huge fireball exploded in the Earth's atmosphere in December, according to NASA. The blast was the second largest of its kind in 30 years, and the biggest since the fireball over Chelyabinsk in Russia 6 years ago.
Ah.
Mm-hmm. You've got a summer cottage in Chelyabinsk, don't you?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Was that part of the allure? You're like, you know what? If I could retire anywhere, it would be on the balmy shores of Chelyabinsk, Russia.
It is, yes, because it reminded me of the Bill Cosby dentist skit. So I figured, I would retire there. Yeah.
Hey, but Smobuk.
Yes, exactly.
But it went largely unnoticed until now because it blew up over the Bering Sea, just off Russia's Kamchatka. Chamistakata Peninsula.
Sure.
The space rock exploded with 10 times the energy. I have got a sneeze building up that I can't get rid of.
Uh-oh.
It's making my head want to collapse within itself.
Oh, my.
I feel like a beer can being stepped on right now. The space rock exploded with 10 times the energy released by the Hiroshima atomic bomb. Dear Dave, it's Hiroshima. Could you show some sensitivity, you atomic dick? Sincerely, your number one fan, Nancy.
That actually was my nickname in
Yeah.
college, the Atomic Dick.
Yeah. Lindley Johnson, planetary defense officer at NASA, told the BBC News, or as we like to call it, the BIBIC, a fireball this big is only expected about 2 or 3 times every 100 years, Tim.
Wow.
So what do we know? Well, at about local time on the 18th of December, the asteroid barreled through the atmosphere at a speed of 32 kilometers. That's 20 miles per second for those of us that don't speak crazy, on a steep trajectory of 7 degrees. Measuring several meters in size, the space rock exploded 25 kilometers above the Earth's surface with an impact energy of 173 kilotons, Tim.
Jeez.
That's 40% of the energy release of Chernobylsk, but it was over the Bering Sea, so it didn't have the same type of effect or show up in the news, said Kelly Fast, Near-Earth Objects Observations Program Manager at NASA. That's another thing we have in our defense. There's plenty of water on this planet. That's our defense from giant earth-pummeling rocks. We got a lot of water.
Sure, yeah, we can put it out.
Dr. Fast was discussing the event at the 50th Lunar and Planetary Science Conference in the Woodlands near Houston, Texas. Military satellites picked up the blast last year. NASA was notified of the event by the U.S. Air Force. Dr. Johnson said the fireball came in over an area not too far from routes used by commercial planes. How about that? Flying between North America and Asia. So researchers have been checking with airlines to see if there are any reported sightings of the event. So what's the significance, you ask? Well, geez, Tim, give me a damn second. I'm still in the middle of reading.
Sorry.
2005, Congress tasked NASA with finding 90% of near-Earth asteroids of 140 meters or 460 feet in size or larger by 2020. Space rocks of this size are so-called problems without passports because they're expected to affect whole regions if they collide with Earth. But scientists estimate it'll take them another 30 years to fulfill this congressional directive. So in 2005, Tim, they wanted all the info by 2020. They're telling us it's going to take at least another 30 years to get all this info.
Wow.
A lot of bad things can happen, Tim.
Jeez, I guess.
Once an incoming object is identified, NASA has had some notable successes at calculating where on Earth the impact will occur based on a precise determination of its orbit. In June of 2018, the small 3-meter, 10-foot asteroid 2018 LA was discovered by a ground-based observatory in Arizona 8 hours before impact. That's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
What's it? Oh, shit. That's what it would be like for me as I'm looking through the... Oh, shit. Got a big flaming rock heading for you.
Yeah.
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 The Center for Near-Earth Object Studies at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or as we like to call it, the JPL, then made a precision determination of its orbit, which was used to calculate a probable impact location. This showed the rock was likely to hit South Africa. Just as the calculation suggested, a fireball was recorded over Botswana by security camera footage on a farm. Fragments of the object were later found in the area. So how can monitoring be improved? Man, Tim, if you're going to keep interrupting me with these damn questions, I'm never going to get through with the story.
Sorry, man. I'm just naturally curious.
The latest event over the Bering Sea shows that larger objects can collide with us without warning, underlining the need for enhanced monitoring. A more robust network would be dependent not only on ground telescopes, but space-based observatories as well. A mission concept and development would see a telescope called NeoCam launched to a gravitational balance point in space, where it would discover and characterize potentially hazardous asteroids larger than 140 meters. Dr. Amy Meisner, chief scientist of NeoCam at JPL, said, The idea is really to get as close as possible to reaching that 90% goal by finding the 140 meter and larger near-Earth asteroids given to NASA by Congress. She said that if the mission did not launch, projections suggested it would take us many decades to get there with the existing suite of ground-based surveys. Dr. Meisner added, but if you have an IR-based infrared telescope, it goes a lot faster. So what they're saying is, hey, we need an IR-based telescope, so let's raise a little money.
Right.
What do you think?
Sure.
I'm all for it. I ain't again it.
I ain't again it either. Let's get that GoFundMe page going. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are we off to next?
Well, we're going to Rougham Airfield, where a whiff of fuel, a spirit's footsteps, and ghostly voices all combined for a good time, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Ghostly goings-on at a former World War II RAF station have excited spirit hunters who braved an overnight visit there. Rougham Airfield, just outside Bury St. Edmunds, has a rich wartime history, so it is not entirely surprising it is on the Ghost Hunters Trail, home of the 94th Bombardment Group. It opened in 1942, and many airmen lost their lives on missions from Rougham or on their return. The group Ghost Hunt UK said after their visit to Rougham Control Tower, they were suffering from a paranormal hangover. Claire Wagg of Ghost Hunt UK said on their Facebook page, "What a night we had. All in all, it was very interesting and interactive night, giving us more questions than answers, some nice experiences, and some names both new and old." Guest phones captured electronic voice phenomena of a lady who gave her name to the group, but the mirror scrying, a technique to detect messages or visions, was the star of the night. Miss Wagg said 2 separate groups picked up on a cross-eyed spirit, and one man got a very howling experience as he was observed changing from human to canine. Well, that's something you don't see every day. There was no denying that the reflection on the mirror was no longer a human face. Could it be a spiritual guide, or was it one of the canine presences that a group had been picking up on during the event? At the Nissen Huts, one guest picked up a floral scent of jasmine and other localized smells, including fuel and Old Spice. Oh, Old Spice is always nice. The temperature was said to plunge at the huts in one spot, said to be a spirit enjoying the music that the guests were playing. In the tower, the group were said to become aware of the presence of a male spirit who apparently wanted to make himself known with footsteps heard and the throwing of something that sounded like a screw or metal object in a different part of the tower. But when the guests looked for the object, they were unable to locate it or see anything out of place. This would happen when everyone was doing something else, as if someone wanted our attention, said Miss Wagg. Flashes of light and female voices talking when no one was there also spooked the guests. Clint Cansdale, paranormal investigator officer on the Rougham Tower.
Wait.
Huh?
What's his name?
Clint Cansdale.
My God, it sounds like a romance hero, doesn't it?
Clint Cansdale.
Yes.
I guess so.
It's a kick-ass name, Clint Cansdale.
Clint Cansdale, paranormal investigator and officer on the Rougham Tower Association Committee, said, "What's that?"
I like it.
You like it. Said he didn't know whether to believe the paranormal reports or not, but he himself has experienced the floor creaking in one spot, yet no one was there. He said different ghost hunter groups had heard the name George called out, but added that it was a common name, so difficult to trace to a particular airman. Most airmen were not allowed within the control tower, as it was restricted to control tower staff, he added. The airfield was designed for the United States Army Air Force unit, with the first group to arrive, the 47th Bombardment Group, followed by the 322nd Bombardment Group. The 94th Bombardment Group arrived from Royal Air Force Earls Colne in June of 1943. Mr. Cansdale added, a lot of people died on that airfield. A lot of people came back, and the plane was badly damaged. A tragedy struck in May of 1943 when a B-26 plane crashed onto the airfield, killing the crew and damaging a hangar. Rougham Control Tower Aviation Museum will be open to the public on Sundays from April through to the end of October. So there you go.
That's it, huh? That's it all?
That's it all.
Well, a family is begging for spiritual help from a strange attack, Tim. And you can thank me for giving myself this story and not to you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Haunted by a shadowy spirit creature, which they say live inside their home, a Gasparillo family is now seeking spiritual help to remove this unwanted guest. Krishna Mathura, 60 of Hilltop Drive, Gasparillo, says over the past 7 months, a 3-foot-tall spirit-like creature believed to be a buck, which is kind of like a troll or a gnome, has been roaming the house. The house is perched in an incline overlooking the central range. It's fenced, and Mathura says the supernatural occurrences have been causing them sleepless nights. During an exclusive interview with the Guardian media at the family's home, Mathura said last year his wife Balmiti and son Govinda began hearing a voice inside the house. The voice was telling Balmiti he wanted sex. Mathura, who retired from his workplace recently, said it was only when he started staying home he realized what his family was going through. This creature, Mathura claimed, has also been eating valuable racing pigeons he rears behind his home. Their goats have also been poisoned, and sausages, meats, and other items have been eaten from his fridge. Balmiti claimed that the creature appears and vanishes before their eyes. He said last week she was in the living room when the tablecloth flew up and went flying out the window. Govinda was also there. They chased after it, and Balmiti said it dropped in some bushes and then disappeared. This is not the only item that vanished. Govinda said an expensive vase and a picture of Jesus Christ also went missing, along with their Bible. Playing a recording of a voice he claimed belonged to the buck, Govinda said the creature admitted to stealing the Bible and the picture it took to its boss. If is one thing I won't do is lie to you. I carry it by the boss, and he tell me bring it back before I get in trouble. That's what the voice on the audio drawled. In another recording, the voice said he came from Jamaica. I do afraid Pundit Ramesh, and I do afraid no pastor, the voice said. A deep-throated laugh and the mewing of a cat were also recorded as evidence of the spirit creature. Govinda said the voices were recorded at nights. Govinda used a clay and created a horned idol to ward away the buck. But Mathura said this has not yet worked. So he created basically a unicorn out of clay to fend off a paranormal intruder, Tim.
Nice.
So apparently unicorns are not all that magical after all.
Huh.
We tried everything. We burn incense. We Google, Tim. Google.
Google?
Googol. Google. We sprinkle salt, garlic, red lavender. We called the pundit and the pastor. They told us it's a buck. This thing distressing us. We cannot sleep. Every night we hear banging. It loves to wake us up. Every time we hear it through the cracks in the house saying, "Oi!" he added. Govinda said the buck is a short, fat man with a fat face, big hair, and big ears. So if you give him to somebody else, is that considered passing the buck, Tim?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
He doesn't walk on his foot. He walks on his toes, like Fred Flintstone bowling, Tim. His left hand is on his right side, and his right hand is on his left side. He does cuss me. A few days ago, he came down with a match to burn my father's car. Most times he's invisible, but I could hear his voice. He follows us, Govinda says. According to Caribbean folklore, the buck has ties with both Guyanese and African folklore. They are believed to have originated in West Africa, where the short races, pygmies, were believed to have magical powers. They were referred to as the Baku, which in many African languages means little brother or short man. There are also stories of rich Trinidadians who came upon their wealth not through hard work, but rather through a trip to the forests of Guyana to capture one of these little wish granters. The bucks usually live in dark places like attics and usually demand blood and milk. Pastor Deanna Ramanarine from the Christ Crusaders Assembly in Whiteland confirmed to the TNT Guardian she had visited the family and said she believed they were facing a demonic attack. When I visited, it was almost night, and I prayed with them, and they said they slept well. I told them they have to pray and believe in God, Ryan said. Asked whether she believed it was a buck, Ryan said yes. I've encountered things like this before because I work in the interior of Guyana. I've seen a buck in Guyana, so I believe them. We cannot be afraid. We have to take authority, and the Lord delivers. That's what said. The buck will usually beat up the house, whistle at them. You see things flying all over the room. It will take time for it to leave, but have to stop playing with it by talking about it and talking to it. Just ignore it and call Jesus for deliverance. That's right. If you want to get rid of the buck in your house, if you're being tormented by demonic spirits, call Jesus. 1-800-JES-US, the Savior. He'll be able to come on out and clear your home right now. Plus, if you order now, you get a really cool baseball cap with Jesus on it.
I must be hungry because when you said call Jesus for deliverance, I thought you meant delivery, and all I thought of was pizza. So I just imagined Jesus bringing me a pizza.
You are a wee bit hungry then, lad. All right, where are we off to next?
We go to San Angelo, Texas, where a close encounters... That's not the Texas state theme, I don't believe, no.
No, it's more like this, right?
Okay.
The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas.
That's better, yeah.
Okay.
Close Encounters of Concho Valley, or What You Should Do When Meeting E.T. That's what this one's all about. We go to San Angelo, where the long, empty roads of Texas at night can have an air of mystery and fear. For some locals, these highways are rife with extraterrestrial life. See what I did there? And terrifying tales. San Angelo and surrounding towns have a long track record of UFO sightings, whether it was an out-of-this-world encounter of an errant weather balloon. One San Angelo woman started a trek to find the truth. On May 6, 1990, Linda Faulkner was chosen as the state section director for MUFON, the Mutual Unidentified Flying Objects Network Incorporated, according to an article from that day. The 46-year-old former pilot first heard her coworkers discuss their sightings in the 1970s, which included mysterious lights following the plane's wingtips. Faulkner's first experience was near Big Spring in 1973. Like several other sightings, it took place as she drove the lonely road late at night. A light came down in front of her car, and she remembered nothing else but feeling fear from that night. There's a lot of stress associated with sighting a UFO, Faulkner said. This can be pretty traumatic for people who've seen something. Faulkner wanted to give those who experienced encounters something to talk to as well. Further coverage brought forth decades of encounters. 7 years prior to Faulkner's encounter, two San Angelo women also experienced something on an empty Texas road home. Sister-in-laws Jessie Leah Boren, 29, and 51-year-old Faye Boren left Sterling City around 8 p.m. on Monday, November 3rd, 1980, somewhere between Sterling City and Carlsbad on US 87. Faye saw something in the center of the road, according to a 1980 article. The object began to approach their car, then soundlessly leapt over them and shot to the trees across the road, or along the road, rather. The object, described as round and oblong and dark with flashing multicolored lights, wasn't done with the duo. It was a bright red blur between the mesquite trees, but Faye recalled it following them. It just doesn't seem like it could be real, Jessie Lee said. I just can't realize that we just saw such a thing, but we really did, and I'm not crazy, and my sister isn't either. There's a listing here of different sightings that happened in San Angelo. Among those in recent times include a sighting on July 14th of 2010, and that went through October 10th of 2010. A resident reported a sighting to MUFON. They saw it at 10:20 p.m. that day, according to MUFON records. They claimed there wasn't sufficient information. On September 20th of 2010, a resident reported a sighting to MUFON. They saw it at 3:33 p.m. that day, according to MUFON records. And July 12th of 2011, a resident reported a sighting to MUFON. They saw it at 9 p.m. that day, according to MUFON records. But the sightings go all the way back to January 1953, where UFO reports in San Angelo were dismissed as vapor trails, meteorites, or weather balloons. So the history goes from January of 1953 all the way to July 12th of 2011. After her close encounter, Faulkner urged people to call MUFON as soon as possible, draw a picture of the object, and write down details and other witnesses. Details should include time, location, weather conditions, sounds, and travel direction, according to the 1990 article. So there you go.
Wow, so quite a bit hopping.
Yeah, quite a bit going on there in San Angelo, Texas.
Quite a bit hopping, quite a bit popping. A holy statue in a town near Acapulco has been inexplicably crying since the start of the year. Residents of the community aren't quite sure what to make of it. The ceramic piece, which can be found in a home in the village of Kilometro 42, reportedly first began shedding tears on January 1st. Since then, additional crying incidents have occurred with numerous witnesses watching in awe. According to one resident, opinions of the eerie phenomena have been mixed, with some people suggesting that the tears are a bad omen, and others arguing that the crying is a more benevolent sign from God. For their part, officials with the local Catholic Church were reticent to ascribe any special significance to the ongoing event and seemed to express skepticism of it altogether. Not everything corresponds to a spiritual phenomena, said a representative from the church in the area. Sometimes there are things that are just merely weird and natural. To that end, they promised to send someone to investigate the matter, since there were also concerns that the crying statue could be an elaborate hoax aimed at scamming the spiritually inclined out of their hard-earned money by charging to see the miraculous piece. I had a miraculous piece in college, Tim.
That's what I hear.
It was a weeping doll for sure. No, I just kid. All right, where are we off to next?
Well, we head off to Japan, Dave, where a research team has woke up a mammoth cell nuclei. Evidently, nobody watches movies anymore and knows not to do such a thing.
Dun, 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 dun. Right. Haven't we learned from the 82 Jurassic Park movies we should stop messing with DNA?
I guess not. New findings indicate that the resurrection of mammoths is not a fantasy. A research team, including members from Kindai University, is saying after cell nuclei extracted from the 28,000-year-old remains of a woolly mammoth were discovered to retain some function. When placed in the ova of mice, the nuclei developed to a state just before cellular division, according to a paper published Monday in the British journal Scientific Reports, which I get on my doorstep at 5:30 every morning.
The ova of mice? So we're going to have the world's smallest woolly mammoths? Are these the new, like, Tamagotchi pets of the future?
Yes, they're little pygmy mammoths.
Yeah, like pocket around. Squares are like a hamster.
Yeah, you keep
with
them,
tusks.
Keep them on little leashes. You just yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
Nope. That's just my woolly mammoth.
You gotta
Pardon me.
Go around with tiny little shovels cleaning up little mini mammoth poop. It's going to be fun.
That sounds like an oxymoron. Mini mammoth.
Mini mammoth poop. Yep.
All right. Where we have to.
The team includes researchers from Japanese and Russian universities. It's been working for about 20 years on a project to use cloning to resurrect mammoths, an animal that has long been extinct. The cell nuclei used in the team's recent findings were extracted from musculature and other tissue from yucca, and about 3.5 meter long female woolly mammoth excavated nearly intact in 2010 from permafrost in Siberia. When inserted into mouse ova, 5 out of 43 nuclei were observed to develop to a point just before the nuclei would split in two as a result of cell division. Cell nuclei contain DNA, the so-called blueprint for life, and mouse ova have been confirmed in experiments to have a reparative function for DNA. It is said to be possible that the mammoth's DNA, damaged as a result of being frozen for a long time, was repaired and its biological functions invigorated. However, the pre-division development stopped before completion in all of the ova. Yucca cell nuclei were more damaged than we thought, and it would be difficult to resurrect a mammoth as things stand, said team member Kai Miyamoto, a lecturer in developmental biology at Kindai University. There's a chance if we can obtain better preserved nuclei. Terahiko Wakayama, a professor in reproductive biology at the University of Yamanshi's Advanced Biotechnology Center, said this can be praised as a first step in research toward the dream of resurrecting extinct ancient animals. I hope they can determine to what extent the DNA was repaired and how much activity there was. So it looks like they're on the way to resurrecting the woolly mammoth, but they're not quite there yet.
Well, an intriguing image from Australia may show the massive handprint of the country's resident Bigfoot-like creature known as the Yowie. Is that how you say that? Did I get the inflection of the Australian accent right?
I believe you did. Yeah, I believe you got
Yowie.
it. Yep.
The photo was taken by a man who had been camping in the Nanango State Forest in Queensland following a really noisy night in the bush. I'll just let that one marinate. In which a considerable number of animals could be heard making sounds. The camper was drinking some tea in the morning when he noticed something odd on the back of his Jeep. I must have known it was something different, he recalled, because I normally wouldn't look at a handprint on the back of my window. However, upon closer inspection, he realized that the enormous mark was about half the size of the top of the bottom measurement of the window and dwarfed that of a human hand, making the print all the more interesting, he noted, is that the dirt which constitutes the mark appears to have come from somewhere else, Tim. Since the dust around it was undisturbed. While he initially suspected that perhaps one of his children had made the marking, the man observed that the ridges of the handprint could be easily seen, suggesting that the puzzling find was not merely the result of someone smearing their hand on a window. When he later showed the print to his kids, he revealed they just shook their heads. They don't want to think what I suspect. Although he seemed reticent to outright say the proverbial Yowie, the man theorized that a sizable creature with a hand resembling a human had pressed up against his Jeep. It was a sexy Jeep. Who can blame it? I'm not a bloke that goes on flights of fancy about these things, he mused, and conceded that the print has puzzled him ever since he found it, which is how it wound up falling into the hands of Yowie researchers down under. Have you ever researched some Yowie down under, Tim?
I tried once, but ended up in a jail cell for a weekend as a result.
Ooh, no bueno. Although it's not impossible to know for certain if the mark did indeed come from that of the legendary beast, it could provide a different glimpse of the creature that, like its iconic North American brethren, usually draws more attention via its big feet. You know what they say, Tim? Big feet, big shoes.
Yeah, and big socks, too.
Pardon me, sir? All right, what have you got left for me?
The History Channel has greenlit a new groundbreaking limited nonfiction series, Unidentified Inside America's UFO Investigation, exposing new evidence on UFOs led by the former special agent in charge and director of the government's top-secret program and executive produced by Tom DeLonge. It turns out that former government officials disclosed new information in an effort to change government policy about the potential threats that UFOs pose to U.S. national security. In December of 2017, the New York Times published a stunning front-page expose about the Pentagon's mysterious UFO program, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP, as the kids are calling it, featuring an interview with former military intelligence official and special agent in charge Luis Elizondo, who confirmed the existence of the hidden government program. The controversial story was the focus of worldwide attention. Previously run by Elizondo, AATIP was created to research and investigate unidentified aerial phenomenon, including numerous videos of reported encounters, 3 of which were released to a shocked public in 2017. Elizondo resigned after expressing to the government that these UAPs could pose a major threat to our national security, and not enough was being done to deal with them or address our potential vulnerabilities. Now, as part of history's groundbreaking new 6-part, 1-hour limited series, Unidentified Inside America's UFO Investigation, Elizondo was speaking out for the first time with Tom DeLonge, co-founder and president of To the Stars Academy and of Arts and Science, and Chris Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense and Intelligence, to expose a series of startling encounters and embark on fascinating new investigations that will urge the public to ask questions and look for answers. From A&E Originals, DeLong will serve as executive producers. DeLong went on to say, with this show, the real conversation can finally begin. I'm thankful to history for giving the To the Stars Academy team of world-class scientists, engineers, and intelligence experts the opportunity to tell the story in a comprehensive and compelling way. I think everyone that watches the show will walk away with questions answered and a feeling of, wow, I get it now. History is committed to creating informational, authentic programming that keeps our audience intrigued to learn more, said Eli Lehrer, Executive Vice President and Head of Programming History. This is not a UFO hunting show, but a series that will hopefully provoke a cultural conversation about unexplained phenomenon and allow our viewers to ultimately draw their own conclusions. Tom's curiosity and passion for the subject matter, combined with his team, are the perfect partners to deliver this breakthrough series. Just looking here to see if there is a date for when this comes out. It doesn't look like there is a date as of yet for when this will be released.
Well, I'm sure as we know more, we will be sharing more. Tim, I've got a strange story here.
Okay.
And I know this is the place and time to share it.
Okay.
Scientists have cured alcoholic rats by shooting lasers at their brains.
Oh, that makes sense.
What?
I don't know.
So first of all, how did these poor little fellas get addicted to alcohol? Did they lose their job on the cheese line and things went bad? I don't understand. How do you find alcoholic rats to begin with?
Sometimes, Dave, when you live in a sewer, you just got to adapt.
I used to be somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm just a sewer dweller like you people.
Mm-hmm.
Scientists at Scripps Research say they found a way to reverse rats' dependency on alcohol by blasting particular neurons in their brain with laser beams, a change they liken to flip the switch. What is so exciting about these findings is that we were able to control the motivation to drink alcohol in severely dependent individuals with the flip of a switch, said Scripps professor Olivier George told Digital Trends. By implanting fiber optics deep in the brain and turning on a laser that inhibits these neurons specifically, we could dramatically decrease alcohol drinking and the physical symptoms of withdrawal. For now, we can't get too excited about a new human treatment immediately, stemming from the research, which was recently published in the Journal of Nature Communications. Though the Scripps researchers are hopeful about the future of the work, they caution that it could take decades until the tech is ready for testing on people. This work requires the use of cutting-edge technologies that are not approved to be used in humans yet. So it could take up to 15 to 30 years before we see alcoholics with brain implants that help them control their craving. That's what George told the Digital Trends. But for all of the alcoholic rats reading City Pages, seeing that little ad on the back, if you're an alcoholic rat and you want help, come see our beta testing now and earn $32 in cheese. It sounds like a hell of a deal.
Yeah, I'll say.
That's it for me, Tim. I have no more news stories. How about you?
I have nothing left.
Nothing? That's it?
That's it.
Well, then let's take a quick break. We'll come back, and it's time for your phone calls and supernatural tales of wonder here on Beyond the Darkness.
Can't keep up with all the latest scandals?
It's a bullshit question.
Then it's time to check out Reasonable Doubt on Podcast One.
I was going to unleash a torrent on anybody who was violating attorney-client privilege. I was pissed.
Join world-renowned criminal defense lawyer Mark Garagos as he reviews the latest in our nation's most high-profile legal cases with podcast king Adam Carolla.
Well, then we're circling back to MJ.
Okay.
Because I'm not done with that.
Download new episodes of Reasonable Doubt every Saturday on Podcast One.
Beyond the Darkness.
Welcome back to the program. This is the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Dave. That's Tim. This is Beyond the Darkness. Tim, for people looking for something fun to do, and, well, you know, that time of year where there's really nothing going on because it's crappy weather and you want to see a movie, do you have any recommendations for us right now?
Boy, do I ever.
Do ya?
Boy, do I ever. You know something, Dave? One of the pleasant surprises out there when it comes to suspense, thriller, horror. Suspense. You got to forgive me. I've been drinking before the show. I can't handle these people anymore, Dave.
Can I maybe wire your brain with some cable network and shock treatment you out of your drinking needs?
No, not at all. Oh. When it comes to suspense, horror, thriller type deals, one of the filmmakers that's come along in the last couple of years has been Jordan Peele. One of the filmmakers that's kind of come out of the blue when it comes to suspense, horror, and thrillers, especially since he's a comedian. You would figure a comedian can't make suspense and horror and thrillers, right?
Well, I don't know. Comedians are pretty dark.
They can be, yes.
Yeah.
They can be. But Jordan Peele has kind of been a nice surprise, especially with Get Out. Get Out was quite the movie. And now he has this new movie out, Us. And you would think, when I first saw the trailers for it, I don't find doppelgangers, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't find them scary. But he's found a way to really creep you out with doppelgangers. And so I checked out Us this past week, and Rotten Tomatoes has given it it's gotten 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's gotten 84% in other places. So I went in, I heard all the hype before I went in, and I tried to go in with some low expectations because I didn't want to. I didn't want to kind of color my expectations before I went in. But basically, Adelaide Wilson, her husband, her son, her daughter, returned to their beachfront home where she grew up as a child in Santa Cruz. Okay. And as a child, growing up in Santa Cruz, she goes to the boardwalk with her family. And she enters into a fun house. And, when you enter into the fun house and you have all these different mirrors, you kind of have that creepy feeling anyways. Well, she runs into an exact doppelganger of herself. And she kind of loses time at that point. And she kind of wanders away from her parents. Well, she ends up coming back, and she gets kind of creeped out. She ends up coming back to her dad. And she always gets this feeling that this evil doppelganger is out there, kind of looking for her for all these years. Lo and behold, her mom and dad pass away. And all these years later, she comes back to this home with her husband, son, and daughter. And as they come back to this home for a summer vacation, lo and behold, here come these four masked strangers that are exact doppelgangers of them. And that's where the fun begins. And I'll leave it at that, because anything else from there is a spoiler. And let's just say there's an amazing twist at the end of this movie that is absolutely Hitchcockian. I'll just put it that way. And in a world where there's very little suspense, horror, thriller, cleverness, I'll put it that way. There's not a lot of cleverness to scripts anymore. Jordan Peele is really kind of a breath of fresh air. So in this, I would give this movie 4 out of 5 stars. And I'm tough on movies.
Wow.
I'm really tough on movies, but I really thought that this was clever. And in the way that Jordan Peele puts this together, he puts together this alternate world. And he really makes you think as to what is it that I'm seeing here. Because there's so many, he takes you along in this journey, and he really makes you think, what is it that I'm looking at here? What is it that these doppelgangers are? And what is it that I'm looking at? And you start thinking as to what is it that I'm watching? And there is a part of it that he leaves up to you, which is really kind of cool. So I encourage you to go see this movie. I really do. Go out, see it, and let us know what you think of it, because I really want to, and again, email us, Dave at darknessradio.com, Tim at darknessradio.com. I want to get your guys' on Parashare here over the next couple of weeks. I want to get your opinions on what you think these doppelgangers are that you saw in the movie. Because I have a theory, too, as to what they are or what they were. as you see it. Whether it has to do with, you know what? Let's not spoil it. Let's let people see the movie, and because I want to get people's ideas, and Dave, I want you to see it too, and I want your opinion as to what you think these doppelgangers are.
So you said you're giving this a 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah,
for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what was his first movie?
Get Out.
And how was that? Now, is this a horror movie, or are they more like a thriller suspense movie?
It's more thriller suspense, although there are with this movie, Get Out was more thriller suspense. This has more of a horror slasher type genre to it, although I still put it in suspense thriller, even though it's got horror to it. You know, it's got slasher elements to it. But it's more of a suspense thriller because it's very much stacked with a story. Although it's definitely got a lot of horror elements in it. It's not, put it this way, somebody at the screening brought their child, and I have no idea why they brought their child to this movie. I wouldn't have. But yeah, there's definitely lots of blood. There's lots of killing. There's lots of all
right,
but
4 out of 5 stars. That's good for a Tim Dennis review.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. It was very good. I thought it was a very good movie. Yeah. So
when does it open? Is it officially open already?
It's officially open already. It opened on Friday. Go out and see it. Go see it. It's a good movie.
Pushing me around. Jeez, I'll go.
Go see it, Dave. Go see it.
Wow, I'll see it. My God. All right.
Very good movie.
We want to hear from you people. You people, give us a call. Our Voices from Beyond voicemail, 651-300-4977, 651-300-4977. You can leave us one of your paranormal encounters, or maybe just one of your favorite memories of the show. And this was a nice little phone call we got from a longtime listener.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Timmy D. This is Patty from Connecticut, and I'm just sitting here listening to the live episode from the Walker Stalker Cruise, and Dave is telling a story about the very first Darkness event. This must have been 12 years ago. There were 2 men who had experiences in a room in a haunted hotel in Rhode Island where a man had slit his throat. And the 2 men who experienced these things started choking and grabbing their throats, and they had to leave the room at this event. And I know it happened exactly how Dave described it because I was there way back when. And I was one of the women who dragged my skeptical, non-believing husband out to this event, and he was the one who had the experience. Wouldn't you know, even after all these years, my husband Wayne is the one who still, who still has experiences now and then, and me, nothing. But I just wanted to say thank you for telling that story. I know you've said it a few times over the years. And it's always fun to listen to. It brings back great memories. We're still listening, guys, after all these years, and keep up the great work. Take care. Bye-bye.
That was so sweet. It's nice to know that we still have people that have been on this 13-year journey with us.
Most definitely.
Very cool. We've got a couple more stories coming in a few minutes, but first, are you having digestive troubles? Maybe weight gain, low energy, achy joints. If you've been struggling with any of these, then Dr. Stephen Gundry says you're not alone, and he knows the real cause. Dr. Gundry is one of the most famous and well-respected diet experts in the world, and he says that most likely these problems aren't about lack of exercise or even genetics. The real cause is something called leaky gut. Leaky gut happens when you eat certain foods that contain lectins, which are little tiny particles that tear holes in your digestive tract. These particles then wreak havoc on your insides. They cause poor digestion, fatigue, achy joints and muscles, brain fog, and even worse, health issues. Tim, how many of our friends complain about all of these issues?
Quite a few.
We just put it off as, this is just getting old and our body breaking down, but that's not the case. That's not what Dr. Gundry believes. He thinks it truly is these lectins, and that's what's causing all of the problems. So what's the solution? Well, You just need to know a few foods to avoid, and Dr. Gundry has made a free video describing exactly what they are. People who watch this video have reported more energy, smoother bowel movements, slimmer waistlines, and a stronger, healthier body. So if you want to finally tackle your leaky gut, just watch the video at TotalRestore2.com. Go check it out for your friends at Beyond the Darkness. TotalRestore2. That's the number 2.com. Listen, we care about you. We worry about you. We love you. We want you to have a good, healthy, long life filled with cognizant memories, lots of love and laughter. And it's no reason for you to continue to feel like you do. All it takes is going to watch the video. It's free. It's available to see right now at TotalRestore2.com. It's changing my life. It's changing Tim's life. Let it change yours. Get the information. Forewarned is forearmed. Be educated. Get the enlightenment you need to take your life back. Go check out TotalRestore2.com. That's TotalRestore, then the number 2.com. All right, Tim, we have some stories to read. Are you ready for this?
Ready.
First of all, I do want to make a mention. Tomorrow, Visions, True Stories of Spiritualism, Secret Societies, and Murder. Michael Keene, our guest, will be back again tomorrow. We visited with him on True Crime Tuesday this past week. Mm-hmm. We talked about female serial killers, women killers, especially around the turn of the century. It was interesting how he broke them into different categories, things like Avengers and baby farmers, black widows. And hearing some of the stories really made my blood run cold. It was a great kind of throwback feel to the True Crime Tuesdays.
Oh, yes.
So if you have not yet subscribed, maybe not even know about True Crime Tuesdays, not only do we give you two of the best programs of the paranormal every Saturday and Sunday, but we also deliver you the best in true crime talk radio every Tuesday. True Crime Tuesday. And you can subscribe. Just go check out darknessradio.com. Scroll down the page. You'll find information on all the programs, from my hosting of Midnight in the Desert Monday through Friday to Beyond the Darkness every Saturday and Sunday, and True Crime Tuesday every Tuesday. Subscribe now to True Crime Tuesday and never miss another minute in the best of true crime talk radio. Not only do you get the brand new episodes for every month, but it gives you access to the last, we just cleared over 100 episodes since we began on this service, right?
Yep, we're right at the 2-year mark. So we have about 104 episodes now. Yep.
That's so cool. So go check it out for yourself. Subscribe now. It's a mere $5, $1.25 an episode for the new ones, and then you get all the past episodes free. So if you love true crime as much as we do, and we bring a lot of fun to it, not only do you get the weird true crimes, but we deliver you the best in dumb crimes and stupid criminals, go check it out. Subscribe now. And I got to tell you, it helps us a lot, not only with that program, but with this program. And listen, for $5 a month, you're going to piss that away on one caramel macchiato or something that really is no good for you. Why not entertain your brain and enjoy the show like thousands of others are doing around the world? So go subscribe right now to our Patreon True Crime Tuesday program and never miss another minute in the best of true crime talk radio. All right, shall we get to the emails here, Tim?
Let's.
Hello, Dave and Tim.
Hello.
During last week's show, the March 19th program, the topic of haunted hospitals came up again, and I was wondering if my experiences during my 3-week-long physical rehab might fall into this general category. If not, here's something for your general amusement. In December of 2018, as I was finally assigned a spot in a rehab program for the viewing impaired, mostly to get an in-depth medical examination of my eye condition and to receive referrals and ideas how to continue to improve this damn thing, it's a rather unpleasant turn of events. I learned that the facility was located about 400 kilometers from my hometown. I had applied for a facility close to home, and upon arrival learned that the location used to be a hotel that was slowly being refitted to be a rehab facility that would also accommodate patients. While the general idea of staying in a hotel sounds fun, for someone with an eye condition, that is more stress, as you have to get used to a new place where every floor literally looks the same, and colored lines on the walls do zilch for you if you're mostly colorblind. I guess at this point, you get the idea. I was less than excited to be there and couldn't wait to get back home. During the first week, I was constantly tired and even started taking naps when I could. Supposedly, I had something to do with the different elevation and air quality. For all I knew, I felt like energy was constantly being drained from me, and rehab certainly wasn't that exhausting. Starting with the second week, the complete opposite happened. I would wake up every hour or so, be restless, and in a weird state where you're too awake to sleep and too tired to really do anything else. So I started to get up in the middle of the night, get dressed, and walk the 2 flights of stairs to get some fresh air, admire the newly fallen snow, and just have a cigarette. While outside of the hospital was an unfamiliar environment, it seemed calming and most inviting. I've never been a fan of the woods, but out there in the dark, their presence felt almost comforting and inviting. On my nightly walks back through the hotel and the hallway my room was on, I started noticing weird things. The hotel wasn't just quiet, but it felt like I was the only person in the whole place. There were cancer patients and folks with replacement surgeries in there as well, so I was usually rather quiet. Nobody was stirring behind one of the doors. There was no audible TV sounds in any of the rooms, not even the sound of quietly shuffling loafers. After turning into the hallway that my room was situated in, it often sounded like someone was walking behind me on the carpeted floor. There shouldn't be any echoes from walking on this kind of floor, but more often than not, I could definitively hear something. Even in the room, things started to feel off. Once I would wake up on a regular basis, I started to feel a presence in my room. Not so much a feeling of being watched, but as sure as heck knowledge that someone would be standing in the room as soon as I turned on the light or stepped out of the shower. I started to work a lot on my laptop after dinner. There was nothing else to do, and I was stuck in my room. I started to see shadows moving around in the small winter garden balcony that was attached to my room. The laptop, a highly reliable HP, started to drop out all of the Wi-Fi network, and even when I used my phone as a hotspot, I would report back that there was no data connection, while my cell phone was online and receiving emails and such. The IT guy was utterly perplexed. The laptop insisted that it received a DNS address from the Wi-Fi network, but the address wasn't theirs. The IT guy joked that it almost seemed like the laptop refused to connect me to the outside world. For the record, it worked fine as soon as I got back home and while traveling. Everyone else had no trouble at all. I started to leave the bathroom light on, even though it meant that I had to constantly face the huge mirror and either have the TV on play all night. I usually find it difficult to sleep with the TV on, and I avoid mirrors as much as I can. To me, they're portals that should be left to their own devices and remain a room with a neatly locked door. During my last nights, things escalated to a point where I spent most of the night outside. The TV had lost its cable connection and only showed a blue screen. My laptop would constantly turn off, and I ultimately switched to listening to the radio on my phone, even though I was worried that my alarm might not kick in. I got up at 4 a.m. Everything was still dysfunctional, packed up my last few belongings, put my laptop in the carry bag, and picked up a cup to bring it down to the dining area. The wind was howling like the proverbial banshee, windows were rattling, and it felt like the hotel was going to be ripped apart. On the way back to my room, I repeatedly thought I saw folks being out and about. Several people were leaving that morning, only to turn around and find nobody there. While unlocking my door, I had the intense feeling of someone standing right behind me, to a point where I could almost feel them breathing down my neck. I picked up things and left the lights on and settled in the lobby area to wait for my transport to arrive at around 8 a.m. There was no way I was going to stay in a room for another minute. The desk clerk chatted me up, jokingly asking if I couldn't wait to be on my way back home. I tried to joke that my eyesight seemed to take a turn for the worse, since I kept seeing shadows walking around in the hallways. So I settled it with some human company instead. She said that she would have given me some salt for my doorway if she'd known about this earlier. Then she laughed, nervously. The kind of laughter that signifies that you don't think things are amusing as you try to portray them. Yeah, if I have to return to this place again, I'm either taking sleep meds with me or I'll start recording EVP. What a scary and weird place. Best wishes and dim and gray Carcosa. That comes from KJ. Thank you, KJ, for sharing that with us. Why don't we take another phone call? This is from our friend Devin, telling us about her haunted experience here on Beyond the Darkness.
Hey, Dave. So I've known you a few years, but I realize I've never told you the story of the haunted house that I lived in. So let's roll back the clock a little bit. It's the year 2000. We all survived Y2K. Boy bands were all the rage. And unfortunately, it was prior to paranormal investigating going mainstream on television. When we moved into the house, the first thing I noticed was that the vanity area of my bathroom, super negative energy. Nothing I had ever felt before, but it was definitely the hair standing up on the back of your neck, someone's watching me kind of feeling. In fact, I couldn't even stand in there for very long. To brush my teeth, I actually had to walk out of the bathroom and pace around the hallway, because if I was in that room for any length of time, I would be watching the mirror, making sure the door didn't shut behind me, because I just felt like something had bad intentions and was going to trap me in there. Then, a few months later, I was unpacking groceries in the kitchen, and there was an open doorway. There's no door, it's just open over to my right, and out of my peripheral, I see very distinctly a human, 2 legs, walking by the door. So I thought it was my mom, naturally. She had gone to the grocery store with me, and I started talking to her, just general, hey mom, do you remember seeing this? Only she didn't reply, and I thought, wait a second, did she even come back into the house yet? So I go peer around, and no one's in the house but me. But I can tell you specifically, I saw 2 legs. It wasn't just a mist, it wasn't a shadow, 2 legs. So I run outside, find my mom, tell her, and she said, well, that's funny. A couple of weeks ago, I saw the same exact thing. White mist walking in that same spot, walking toward the den. I just didn't want to scare you, so I never told you. So it wasn't long after that we had a dog that took off running, just bark, 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 like he saw a stranger. Stopped in that exact spot where we both saw that mist and looked up. Like, hi, human. Creeped us both out. We both saw it and just like, what are you seeing, bandit? This is crazy. So I think it's at that point that the spirits realized, hey, they're listening and they know we're here. Because that's when things ramped up just a little bit. So next thing that started would have to be the mimicking. I would wake up many mornings hearing my mom or dad standing over my bed saying, Devin, it's time to get up. And they weren't in my room. They weren't even trying to wake me up. It wasn't time to get up. It was just their voices in my ear. Which naturally, you might think, hey, you're waking up from sleep. You're just hearing things. So I tried to brush it off. Then one day, I'm in another bedroom and hear my brother call me. Hey, Devin, come here for a second. Only he moved out 3 months prior to that. He wasn't at the house. And of course it had to be the room that has the light in the middle of the ceiling that you turn off with the cord. So it's nighttime. I do the quick reach for the cord, try to get my foot as close to the door as I can, switch it off and run out that door because I was freaked out. Nothing should have had my brother's voice. And occasionally you would hear cat noises coming from upstairs when my cat was downstairs. Just constant mimicking, which now I hear that sometimes that can be negative too, so that I'm glad I didn't know that at the time. Next would be the fact that we had walkie-talkies so that we could talk to each other without having to scream up and down the stairs. And I remember one morning waking up and I hear the shh of the walkie-talkie. So I get up, I stumble over to it. Hey, Mom, did you try to call me? And coming back through walkie-talkie is shh, no. I know that sounds silly, but it was a very dark, demonic sounding voice. So I say, Mom, you there? Same thing comes through. So I turn off the walkie-talkie, go downstairs, and I go outside where my mom is, and I said, Mom, were you just trying to get me on the walkie-talkie? It sounded funny. And she said, no, I don't even have it with me. It's in the bedroom. And that happens to be a bedroom where she's heard singing before. So I don't know what was trying to talk to me, but it did not sound good. And then getting back to the vanity area, about a year after we moved in, I think it was, I had a dream. And I don't dream of places I know. I don't dream of people I know standardly. But this was full on my room. I know it had to be an out-of-body experience. All the details were there. And I walk to my bedroom door because I hear a noise outside. And when I open it, I see a mom and a son kneeling down by my door, trying to get in. And I take a step back, like, whoa, who are you? And they looked up at me and they said, no, please. You don't have to be scared of us. It's the other one. And at that point, a light starts shining through my vanity door, and they both turn in fear, and I woke up. And that's when I knew there was negative energy there. So I don't know what happened in this house, but definitely I think there are multiple spirits with the negative one and a couple of good ones. So the last thing I can think of right now is the very last day when we moved out. We were pulling out of the driveway and my mom saw the postal worker, so she said, I'm going to stop and tell her that we're leaving. So she's talking to her, and out of my left side I can see someone walking across the street. Mousy brown hair, gray-orange striped sweater, very 50s kind of looking. And at the time, I was super shy. And so I just kind of faced my head forward, not wanting to make eye contact. And I looked in the mirror to watch him pass by. So I had watched him go to the side, and when I look in the mirror, I don't see him anymore. So I said, well, that's weird. He should have passed by now. So I turn around. Nowhere to be seen. So I know I saw a full body, full color apparition. Coolest thing ever now. But at the time, it's just, what do you do about that? So I wish I knew then what I know now, because I would have investigated top to bottom that house. In fact, I would love to go back to that house just to investigate it. I actually need to set up an alert. So if that house goes for sale, I'm going to go take a tour of it and take the equipment with me. But yeah, that was an experience, and I'll never forget it. But I just had to share that with you because I thought you might be interested. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Devin. And remember, if you guys want to call in, 651-300-4977. 651-300-4977. That's the number to call. Or you can always email me, dave@darknessradio.com. Hi, Dave and Tim.
Hi.
My name is Jacob from Idaho. I work as a water restoration technician, meaning that I dry out people's homes when they have floods in them. When it comes to mold, bleach doesn't kill the spores. Well, just as the name explains, it just bleaches the color. To get rid of the mold growth, you need to use an antimicrobial spray that is rated at killing the growth and spores. Using the appropriate personal protective equipment is necessary so you are not breathing in the nastiness associated with growth. Moving on to a story about my most recent paranormal activity. And he was bringing that up because we talked about possible black mold being part of what we experience with the paranormal. And I think we were talking about the fact that the lady rented the apartment and there was black mold everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yep.
So gross. Anyway, we'll go back to the story. I lost a roommate and companion of 10 years a few years ago to homophobic, parasitic assholes. Since his untimely passing, I've had about 5 dreams of seeing him in random places, never being able to talk to him, leading up to the last one a few months ago when he was on my front porch knocking on my door. His comment was congratulations to the wedding to the gal I never liked, with my response being, why don't you leave me alone because you're dead and you can't haunt my dreams anymore. My thoughts on that is that me dealing with this grief over his death and my mind finally coming to terms for his murder. As far as I know, all assailants have been charged and doing time for the crime. I'd appreciate it if you had any thoughts on this. Oh, by the way, the gal that is being referred to is the one I'm going to be married to in July, and my companion doesn't like her for reasons that don't need to be talked about through email or over the phone. I will share more stories when I find I have time and I'm able to type them out over my phone. Again, thank you both for everything you do. And that comes from Jake. Well, thank you, Jake. I'm not sure. You know, sometimes in what we call dream visitation, sometimes we just see the spirit and that's enough. Sometimes they try to communicate. Sometimes it gets stronger as time progresses. But if you put out that intent to end it and tell him he's not welcome anymore, that might be enough to just stop those things. Thoughts, Tim?
I would tend to agree with you. Yeah, I don't think I have anything more than just what you said. Yeah.
Hi, Dave and Tim. This is Jonathan from Canada. Don't worry, I'm not writing to bust your balls again. I just got around to listening to your interview with Dee McCulley, the documentarian from Ontario who was on a couple of weeks ago. And I wanted to add a few Ontario stories to it. I got to admit, I was a little bummed out by the interview. I was excited to hear some encounters of strange things in my province, but there wasn't much of that. The guest didn't seem to give anything specific and didn't seem prepared. Oh, well, maybe he was just nervous or something. You kept asking whether Ontario had any hotspots for paranormal activity, and he didn't know of any, but there is a book called Gateway to Oblivion, The Great Lakes Bermuda Triangle by Hugh Cochran, which claims there are such areas all around the Great Lakes, including here in Ontario. I'd request you have Hugh on as a guest, but unfortunately he is deceased. Well, that'd be a hell of a guest if we could get him, Tim. Can you break out the Ouija and see what we can do?
Sure, why not?
I wish I could tell you more about the book on these regions. It's about $240 on Amazon, and I found out about it on an episode of another podcast, but it was for the Plus extension of their show. I'm not a member, so I missed out on that. But they teased with stories of ships sinking in the Great Lakes, never to be seen again, and Canadian Armed Forces jets disappearing in clouds, along with some UFO phenomena. Just a bunch of strange stuff. I'm not sure if details anything about Bigfoot or Bigfoot having relationships with cows, though. Sorry, Tim. Here's one or two stories from Ontario I wanted to share. Old Yellow Top is a cryptid that's basically described as a Bigfoot with yellow or blonde hair on its head. It has been reported 3 times in a mining town in northern Ontario called Cobalt. The first time was in 1923 by miners. The second time was in 1947 by a woman and her son, and the third time was around 1970. Again, all of these people were miners. All 3 encounters were up close, and all descriptions were the same. From what I know, it hasn't been reported since. The second one is in the Toronto Tunnels Monster. So apparently Toronto was built over many streams and waterways, which now run below the city or through the sewer systems. In 1979, a man was looking for his cat when he ventured into a culvert thinking it had gone in there. In this underground passage, he claims to have seen a living nightmare. He described it to the Toronto Sun as such. The creature was long and thin, almost like a monkey, 3 foot long, large teeth weighing maybe 30 pounds, with slate gray fur. He also claimed that its eyes glowed orange, and that upon spotting him, it hissed, "Go away," before scampering further into the darkness. The man reported it to the Toronto Sun, only going by the name Ernest, know what I mean, to avoid ridicule. His wife said she believed he was being honest, and so did the reporter who published the story. Fake or not, a cool story. I'm sure Ontario has lots to offer in terms of the paranormal. I know there are countless lake monsters. It is a big, big place, and almost half of its northern region so remote that there aren't even roads, just forest. I'd like to go prying for some more stories in Ontario of people encouraging strange things. If I find anything good, I'll be sure to share them with you. Thank you for reading this. All my best. That comes from Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. About 7 years ago, I was in a very, very bad car accident and was flown to the VCU Med Center in Richmond, Virginia. I had received many serious injuries and spent 2 weeks in a coma before awaking in the ICU. About 2 weeks after being conscious, I was laying awake in bed one night when I spotted a dark figure standing by the door. It clearly saw its face, but it's very hard to describe. It was glaring at me as if I could feel its hate. I got the feeling that it wanted me dead. It went on for a minute or so, then a nurse came to check on me. The figure vanished, and I asked her who was by the door. She told me nobody else had been in here. When the nurse had gone and the door was shut, it was dark again. The figure returned and was back beside the door, glaring at me and feeding me its hate. I slipped out of consciousness and went back to sleep. This went on for a couple of years, wondering if what I saw was real. I was listening to George Norrie one night when he was talking to a woman who was sharing an experience just like mine, a dark figure visiting in her intensive care unit in some other hospital somewhere. Thank you for letting me share. That comes from Austin. Well, thank you, Austin. We love when you share. We love when all of you share. As a matter of fact, we want you to share more often, so give us a call and share your stories. 651-300-4977. Stop being so damn stingy. Let us hear those dulcet tones. Let us hear your voices. Share your own encounters. 651-300-4977 is the number to call, just like our friend Allie with this call.
Hi, Dave. It's Allie. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my paranormal encounters. I really enjoy sharing them with you. Tonight I want to tell you about April of 2008. I had woken up from having a really horrible dream, and all of a sudden my uncle is sitting at the foot of my bed. He wasn't even in the country at the time. I also hadn't known that he had passed. I knew that my uncle was in my dream somehow, and I figured I must still be dreaming. Well, I remember the next day, my mom had told me, like at night, right before I was about to go to bed, she's like, Allie, I need to talk to you about something. You need to come straight home after school. I'm like, okay, what is it? Why can't you tell me now? And she told me, you're not going to want to go to school. I'm like, well, then definitely tell me. I don't feel like going to school anyway. I was a junior at the time, and it's like, fine, whatever. So I'm thinking about it all day at school, and I'm like, God, what is it that she has to tell me that is so important that I have to come straight home after school for her to tell me? I also had to work that night, and I worked at a clothing store at the time. Well, I get home from school, and she tells me that, like, Mom, what was so important that you couldn't tell me last night? You couldn't tell me before I went to school. What was so important that I had to wait all this time? She tells me, Allie, your uncle was in the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad in the Green Zone when it was bombed. Stu didn't make it. I didn't find out until the funeral, his actual date of death, which was the night that he came to visit me. I wish that he would still come and visit me in my dreams or just in spirit. But that was the only time that I had seen him. And he looked so concerned, and I really wish I knew what it was about. Like, it looked like he was trying to talk to me, but his mouth was moving, but there were no words that came out. That'll always haunt me as to what it is that he was trying to tell me. But that's one of my paranormal encounters, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it. Thanks.
All right, Allie, thank you very much for that. We appreciate it. Here's our final email, Tim. Hello, Dave and Tim, my favorite paranormal dynamic duo. I have something somewhat perplexing to relate. On February 26, 2019, my beautiful Chihuahua Sadie had a stroke, and my parents and I made the heartbreaking decision to help her transition to the Rainbow Bridge. We were blessed to have her in our lives for 19 wonderful years. But her loss, even with 3 other dogs in the house, is palpable. Sadie had been such a staple in our lives that not having her around has left a gaping hole in all of our hearts. We brought Sadie's ashes home from last Monday, and this is where things start to get a little strange. One day, I happened to find a penny on the ground outside my parents' room, didn't think anything of it, so I picked it up and put it in my rainy day bank. A few days later, I happened to find a nickel under the dining room table. Weird, but I'm thinking someone's purse or wallet had simply been open and change just randomly fell out. Again, I didn't think much of it. Today, I walk into my room and I find a penny on the floor by my dresser that I swear wasn't there before. Not to mention, I haven't noticed my purse or wallet since I got home from work on Friday. The first 2 occurrences I could chalk up to coincidence, but this one, I feel like someone's trying to say something. Since Sadie's passing, I prayed nightly for a sign from her just to let us know she's okay. Is this a sign I'd ask for, or is it a warning of things to come? Maybe it's just a sign that there is change in the air. I don't think it's bad. When have you ever heard a bad story that involved finding money?
Oh, there's not, really.
All right, maybe just Sadie's dropping some money around, pennies and nickels and dimes, to let you know she's still nipping around and finding it. So that would be my story. I wouldn't worry about it. Although the email goes on to say, I just found out today that my 95-year-old grandfather, who happened to see a UFO in Britain back in 55, but that's another story, was admitted to the hospital due to complications with breathing. He has congestive heart failure, and I'm afraid his time will be one making the transition to the other side soon. I'm not really sure what to make of all this, but certainly it's unusual enough to make me raise an eyebrow and question. What do you guys think? Love you and light to both of you. And that comes from Kirsty. Well, first of all, we're sorry to hear about your grandfather. 95 years is an amazing run, and that should not be, just dismissed. If all of us could live to that, it'd be a great opportunity. Like I said, I don't think it's anything negative. To me, it just sounds like just gentle reminders. Tim?
Yeah, I'm fascinated by whenever coins are left different places. I always think that that's a sign from somewhere. I don't know if that's necessarily Sadie leaving. I think it is someone leaving you a sign that things are okay, but I don't know that that's necessarily Sadie. It may be somebody letting you know that Sadie's okay, but I don't know that that's... I find that weird that it would be Sadie directly leaving you coins, because why would a pet?
Little dogs and cats pick up crazy stuff all the time. My cats do that. If they find a nickel on the floor or something, they'll pick it up and carry it and drop it into another room. So I could see that happening. Yeah.
Okay. I just, to me, I don't know. That doesn't connect for me, but if it connects with you, that's cool. I don't know.
All right. Well, that's it for this week, kids. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the best in paranormal talk radio. Michael Keene, our guest. But we'll be back next week with your stories and more supernatural news. And remember, give us a call. Share your stories, 651-300-4977, or email them to me, dave@darknessradio.com. For Tim Dennis, I'm Dave Schrader. You've been listening to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness.